Hi, my name is Amy Hooper, and I am one of the instructional technology TOSAs here with the Marysville School District. And I'm going to be doing a self paced guided training on Google Classroom today. Here are our learning objectives for today's class. We're going to look at creating classrooms, especially if you want to create your own, even though the technology department does set up classrooms for teachers according to their Skyward schedule. You do have the ability to create your own classroom in Google Classroom should you need to. We're also going to be looking at creating assignments, adding materials. We'll look at using settings to help manage student behavior. Although I do highly recommend you taking the Go Guardian training, that will also help you with managing student behavior when it comes to using technology. We're going to look at engaging students using such fun things as emojis and some other fun upgrades, even the Google Classroom app. Um, we'll also look at organization and scheduling, connecting with parents and guardians and the best practices there. And then lastly, we'll kind of touch upon grading assignments and giving feedback on Google Classroom. Although I know most teachers don't like using grading option on Google Classroom since it does not easily sync to Skyward. So this is kind of how I have my Google trainings, my Google Classroom training set up. It's kind of a kind of table of content. So if I was doing a live training, then we would kind of pick and choose. But for this training, we're going to go through each and every one of these. So we're going to start off by creating a new Google Classroom. As you can see in the upper right-hand corner, we went to the plus sign. We said create class. Now we're going to give it a class name, which is required. The other three things listed below, you do not need to fill in, but you can if you want. Period, which number it is always good to put in. Room number, if it's taking place as a in-person class, is good to add to it. Again, it's that plus sign in the upper right, create a class, and then put in the information below. We're going to create an assignment. You'll see four tabs at the on the upper part of the Google Classroom. It was Stream, Classwork, People, and Grades. We need to be under Classwork in order to have that Create button available. Once you hit the Create button, you'll have a list of a drop-down menu there. You'll have assignments. You can do quizzes, discussion questions, just upload material. And so you're going to want to, for this purpose, select the first option, which is assignment. You can attach, like they're doing here, attaching a Google slide from your drive. You can also attach files from your computer. You can add a YouTube video, a link to another website, and they're making a copy for each student here. So making sure when you do put up some materials here, that you are looking to what option you want to use for your students. Do you want them to have their own copy, or do you want them just to be able to view the document that you've added? You'll need to give a title for the assignment. Instructions are optional. Where it says add and create over here, that has kind of changed recently. It actually just lists out all the available options. But then you can also decide exactly what type of product or application you want students to use to turn in for the assignment, whether it be creating their own Google Doc, their own Google Slides, drawing, or even Google Sheets or something like that. Over on the right, you'll see in the upper right-hand corner the ability to assign once you're done adding everything in and making all the changes to everything. To the right of that assign button, the little triangle, that gives you the ability to schedule the assignment in the future. Later on in this presentation or in this training, I'm going to show you the upcoming change that they're making where they're going to allow you to schedule one assignment for multiple different classes. So you can see under the four here for two classes, you can choose how many classes you want this assignment to go to. You can go to just one, it can go to more than one. You can also select where it says all stud. So this is for all students right now are being assigned this assignment. You can change that so that it is just certain students receive that assignment. It's something I've used for students who need accommodations. So I will choose which students in that class will receive the assignment. Some of the other things here is you can choose how much points are awarded for the assignment, the due date, topics. I highly suggest using topics, whether it's, by name of a book or unit number or module. And then lastly, you have the ability to add a rubric to the assignment as well for grading purposes. The very last thing that was listed there was the ability to have the assignment checked for plagiarism, but I believe as of right now, Google Classroom only allows reassignments for you to use that on for the entire year. Otherwise, I think you have to pay for kind of an upgrade if you want to be able to use it for more than 3 assignments. So I don't usually kind of point people in that direction, but if you have like a major essay or something for students to turn in, you want to use that, that is available to you. The other thing after assignments on that drop down menu after under create is creating a discussion question. You put the question in where it says short answer over here to the right of the question. You can also select for it to be a multiple choice question. You can put instructions in. You can ask students to respond. As you can see here in the lower right, you can have students reply to each other. You can uncheck that if you don't want them to. The other option was to turn off their ability to edit their response once they turn it in. For this example, they are also linking a YouTube video to the assignment. So the assignment would probably consist of them watching the YouTube video and then responding to the question, replying to some of their fellow classmates. Again, you can select multiple classes for this discussion question to be posted to. All students or just some students, giving it the points, giving it a due date that it's due. Ooh, in August, huh? And then also you can assign a topic to it as well. Just like with the assignment in the upper right hand corner of the screen, you can go ahead and just post the question with ask, or you can schedule it out using the drop down menu, which is available just to the right of ask. But as soon as you hit ask, it will post the question. Again, it's under that create button. Third one down, question is what you're looking for, and that would be how to assign a discussion question. Discussion questions can be used in a couple different ways. I've used them as just kind of an opener morning question. Also, I've used it a lot as an exit ticket. But for right now, I'd like you to pause and reflect on how you might use discussion questions in your Google Classroom. You do need to respond to this question before the video will advance. So go ahead and take some time to do that and answer here in Edpuzzle. All right, now we're going to look at scheduling an assignment. It's going to walk you through how you can currently schedule an assignment for just one class. It's just going to be a quick kind of demonstration. So we'll play this very quickly for you. As you can see, we're giving a title. We're going to where that little drop-down menu is to the right of assign, schedule, selecting a date, selecting a time that we want it to be posted, and then go ahead and hit schedule. So as of right now, you can only do this for one class at a time. But in the future coming soon, we will have the ability to do it as multiple classes. So I'm going to show you what to be looking for changes with this video here.
Cool thing that Google's doing. Yeah. All right. Now, this has been a long time coming. I have told people about the question mark so many times, and I feel like we have all together click the question mark and ask for this, and here it is, right, Jess?
Yes, and actually, Amy, it's so funny that you talk about using the question mark. So we joke all the time that Google has somebody literally on the other end of that form waiting for our questions to come in. But the reality is this is the #1 most requested teacher feature upgrade. And so I'm really happy that they've been able to make this happen for us. So what we can do now is right now, as it is with Google Classroom, when you schedule an assignment, once you start to try to schedule it, you're limited to scheduling it to one class at a time. And right now you have to go and reuse the post and schedule for another class and reuse the post and schedule for another class. But what's coming for us now is that you're going to be able to schedule an assignment and then add it to multiple classes at one time. So if you want to add your essay to your English class, you don't have to do it for each section. You can do it one time with just a couple of clicks.
And just the holdup before, am I right about this, was when I go in and I try to schedule and then I want to schedule it to first period, second period, third period, and so on and so forth, is that the assumption is each one of those classes actually begins at a different time. And I didn't have a way to select a different time for each class. So right. My only options, I had to save it as a draft or I had to reuse it.
Right.
That's right. What I could do. But now I'm going to be able to see a dialogue and say, well, I want second periods to come out at 9:05 because that's when second period starts.
Right.
Cool.
So this is going to be a really great upgrade. And Susan Reeves, thank you for using the question mark as well, because we know that it's been literally through the feedback from teachers that have driven this particular upgrade. So that's
cool. Do not miss that question mark in Google Classroom. If you haven't noticed it before, I'm going to go off-road for just a second and show you here. So here's the question mark, bottom left-hand corner down there. I'm kind of swirling my mouse around it. Don't miss that button in Google Classroom, because this right here, report issue or request feature, that does not just go into some like virtual garbage can at Google. There, we've literally met the people who organize and classify those requests, and it literally is built upon teacher requests. So don't miss that. A lot of times you're like, yeah, whatever, like nobody's ever going to read that. That is not true in the case of Google Classroom at all.
Right. That's
We have
really
a
exciting.
thing that Google's doing.
All right. So yeah, make sure you use that question mark feature in Google Classroom if there's any improvements or changes you would like to see made. Some fun things you can do with your Google Classroom is you can actually add an animated banner to your classroom. Instead of having the banner at the top just be a still image, you can actually use this Chrome extension. I'll also post it in a note on Edpuzzle here with the link to the Chrome Web Store. You can download the extension or add the extension to your computer, to your browser. When you go to YouTube, what you'll see in the bottom right hand corner is the GIF it button at the bottom of the video. That will allow you to grab about 10 to 15 seconds of the video, and then you just need to go in and change the picture in your gallery. So in the photos, change the width of it so that it's to 800, which it's showing you here how to do that. So we're uploading it. So we're going to upload as a banner, and then you can just, where it says to upload photo on Google Classroom, that is where you would just select that photo or GIF rather from your Google Drive and insert it. So I'm going to show you if you, yeah, I'm going to just take that part out. So this is another example of someone who used an animated video to put into their banner. So you can do a GIF, you can do a short video, but this slide is also for showing you how to mute a student. So you're going to go into People's tab under Google Classroom. You're going to go to your list of students. Under students, you have the list of all their names along with the guardians to the right of them, their emails. But for actions, you can choose to select a student like this video is showing. You go to actions, you can go to, well, right now they're unmuting it, but you can mute the student, and then that will give the little red speaker next to the student's name to signify that they've been muted. When you unmute it, that speaker will disappear. So again, you would go to select the student's name, go to actions. This is also where you can maybe email or remove a student, select mute. It tells you exactly what will happen if you mute a student. So it's not just they can't comment, but they also can't reply to classmates' work, and other students they can see that they can submit work, but other students won't be able to see their work either. So if there's some sort of inappropriate behavior, or you just want to limit what the student can do on your Google Classroom, this is a great option. But of course, you can always go back and unmute them as well. Right now, this is a really great feature that I really like for those of you who use Google Forms and quizzes and post them to your Google Classroom. This is going to show you how to lock the quiz until you want students actually to have access to it. So this kind of prevents students from maybe sharing information or jumping into the quiz too soon. So we're going to go ahead and watch this short video here.
We'll do the old one first, and then we'll do the brand new feature that just came out today next. Today being November 9th. So one of the things I talked recently about with some teachers is how you can secure a quiz so that one period students couldn't easily share the quiz link with the other classes so that they could go in and look at the answers ahead of time before filling out the form. So the way you do that is by putting in a question to start your quiz and saying, what is today's quiz code, and setting it to short answer. You then click down here for these dots and you go to data validation. That brings up this little section here where you can choose that it's a number, or you could make it a word for that matter. In this case, the number is equal to, and then I put in a random number, 6478. But that's not today's code. After I put that question in, I throw in a section break. That's this tool here. So that is the only question on the first page, which is required to be answered, and they have to answer it correctly before it will let them go on to the second page, which is where the actual quiz questions are. What this looks like is when they're taking it, they get a screen like this. If they type in the wrong code, They cannot click next to go on. They have to type in the correct code, which was 6478. 6478. And then when they click next, it takes them on to the next page where they can actually complete the quiz. So when you're doing this, you will have to change this code in between periods so that the students don't pass the code on to each other class. So the first thing you do when you have the kids come into class and take the quiz is you write the code on the board, or you give them the code and say, enter this for the first question. And that will let them get on to the second and third question. So that's a way of securing a quiz with a data validate.
All right, so what I want you guys to do right now is to go ahead and pause and reflect again. We have another question here. Which of those new features that we just covered are you most interested in maybe using in your Google Classroom? So the up and coming change to schedule assignments for multiple classes at the same time, or maybe you'd like to add an animated banner to your Google Classroom, or is it just having that security of using data validation in order to lock your quizzes? So go ahead and respond to this Edpuzzle question, and you'll need to do so before this video advances. All right, now we're back. We're going to be using some other features here under classwork and create. We're going to be looking at adding materials. Materials are something that just kind of stand alone. It's not an assignment for students to complete. This you might be wanting to use if you want to maybe have your syllabus available on your Google Classroom, or if you just have maybe some rules that you want posted for your Google Classroom, you would use materials. I also suggest creating a topic. You can include a description if you want. You don't have to. You can attach, PDF slides, whatever the case may be, to for materials. But I do suggest maybe having a topic such as maybe just class materials, even if it's basic like that, just so students know what lives kind of under that topic area. All right, now we're going to look at actually adding topics to your classwork page. So we'll watch this short video.
It is ideal to frame out topics first to provide an organizational structure for your items and to make it easier for students to locate them. Click the Create button and select Topic. Title your topic and choose Add. To rearrange your topics, use the More dots to move them up or down, or simply drag and drop them to the correct location. It is ideal to frame out topics first to provide an organizational structure for your items and to make it easier for students to locate them. Click the Create button and select Topic. Title your topic and choose Add. To rearrange your topics, use the More dots to move them up or down, or simply drag and drop them to the correct location.
All right. Now we're going to kind of explore the Google Classroom app. It has some actually pretty cool features on it that the web-based Google Classroom does not offer. So kind of take a look at it from, some settings that would be good for students if students do download the app, but also maybe how to use it as a teacher and what kind of other features it gives to you that aren't available with just the regular web-based Google Classroom. So now we're going to take a look at the Google Classroom app. This is something that will kind of be a game changer, I think, for some teachers. It does allow you to have some features that are not available just on the regular web-based Google Classroom. And then it'll also walk through, if you do have students download it, maybe some features or some settings that they might want to apply. So let's take a look.
The Google Classroom app for Android and iPhone, iPad is a great way for both teachers and students to stay on top of classroom assignments. By using the mobile application, you also get a couple of bonus features that I'd like to show you here. Now, I'm looking at the Android version of Classroom, but it's also available for iOS. I would strongly encourage teachers to ask their students to install the Classroom app on their personal devices, as well as to make sure that the app is on any class. The Google Classroom app for Android and iPhone, iPad is a great way for both teachers and students to stay on top of classroom assignments. By using the mobile application, you also get a couple of bonus features that I'd like to show you here. Now, I'm looking at the Android version of Classroom, but it's also available for iOS. I would strongly encourage teachers to ask their students to install the Classroom app on their personal devices, as well as to make sure that the app is on any Classroom iPads that you might have. We're going to go over a couple of just quick setup things, and then I'll show you some bonus features as well. The first thing you're going to want to do when having your students install the app is to suggest that they adjust their notification settings. So I'm going to click on the three lines in the top left corner, the hamburger. I'm going to scroll all the way down to settings. And we're going to see a couple options here up towards the top. So I'm going to say, it says send email notifications, and then also device notifications. Now, students don't rely on email as heavily, so I would probably recommend having them disable the email notification. It's up to you. And they're going to get those device push notifications, which are more useful for a student. Now, when you scroll down, you'll actually see those notifications here, and you can adjust them. Students are going to see the comment section and the classes you're enrolled in section. I recommend that they leave most of these on. You might want to turn off the class comment one. That one is pretty noisy, depending on how much you use comments. As a teacher, you're also going to have the classes you teach section, and I would recommend turning off the late submissions and resubmission options. You're going to be in classroom. I don't think you really need an email or push notification every time someone submits some work or resubmits it. You can adjust these for your own personal preferences as you need. So that's the first thing I would do, just real quickly, so they don't get overwhelmed with the notifications. Now, the layout is very similar to Classroom on the web through the browser. But there are a couple of bonus features that I'd like to show you. I'm currently signed in as a teacher, and so I'm going to show you the first feature that you're going to receive. I just had my students submit this assignment here, post a picture of your pet. They've been submitting those photos. If I click on a student, I can see the photo that they've uploaded. And the bonus feature that I'm going to receive is the ability to annotate on top of this assignment. So if you've used Google Keep before, you'll be familiar with this. You'll notice I've got some options down here at the bottom, colors and different pen widths. And I can say, I can just, again, right on top of the image, you'll say happy rabbit, something like that. And the student will see that. They enjoy when teachers comment on their work like that. So that's a feature that you can only do through the Classroom app. You don't have that option on the web. Now it's going to save that as a copy of the original, so it doesn't overwrite the student's work. It adds a second image in this case with that comment on top of it. So that the ability to edit and annotate is useful. That works with documents as well. So literally anything a student turns in through Google Classroom, you can click the annotate button and draw right on top of it. If you're doing that with something like a Google document, it's going to create a PDF of the document that you're going to be writing on and then returning to the student. So that's the first bonus feature. Teachers are primarily going to be using that feature. The second bonus you get, it gets back to the same assignment. Anytime you are on the Classroom app, you're going to see this paperclip icon, and you're familiar with those. You'll see drive, link, file. Those are familiar to you. But when you're on the app itself, you will have the opportunity to take a photo or record a video directly from your mobile device. This is extremely helpful if you wanted to do some kind of a scavenger hunt. If you have iPads in your classroom, it really opens up a lot of interesting opportunities because students can take a picture of maybe the artwork they're working on, the math homework that they completed, and then submit that right to Classroom. You can do it on the web as well, but it's an extra step because you have to take the picture, save it to Google Drive or somewhere, and then post that picture through opportunities because students can take a picture of maybe the artwork they're working on, the math homework that they completed, and then submit that right to Classroom. You can do it on the web as well, but it's an extra step because you have to take the picture, save it to Google Drive or somewhere, and then post that picture through Classroom. So on a mobile device, that's a little bit easier. Now, as a teacher, this feature here is tremendous for sub plans, for example. I can just click the record video button, say, hey, students, I'm out today. Here's your assignment without having to really do anything. Just do it right from my phone, wherever I happen to be. That feature there will be available to both teachers and students through the app. Now, the third and final thing I want to show you just helps students manage and organize their assignments a little more effectively. I switched accounts. I'm going to click the hamburger again. Now, I'm actually a student in a couple classes here, and so students are going to have this option here on their phone. It's called To Do, and it allows them to see at a glance all of the upcoming assignments that they need to complete. Now, this feature is also available on the web, but again, if a student's on the bus riding home, they can quickly jump into the To Do section and see what homework they have for that evening. Very easy way for students to keep track of their assignments. That's a quick overview of some of the features of the Google Classroom mobile app. I'd encourage both you and your students to take advantage of it.
All right. Another extension that you can add is emojis. So you could actually use emojis to comment or add them to whatever title or instructions that you are typing up in. So I'm going to give you the link to install the emojis. And then I'm just going to quickly, let's see, get out of here. We're going to go over to my extensions here. I have Chromoji is the one that I use. When I click on that, it's going to bring up for me a different menu of emojis. So what you're going to want to do is select whatever emoji you want to use, maybe a little winky face. So we've got the winky face down here. I'm just going to highlight the winky face. I'm going to hit Command C for copy. And then I'm going to come back over here into my my Google Slide, and then I'm just going to hit Command V or to paste, and I can paste that emoji in right there. So that's something kind of fun that you can use to kind of add to your feedback or other, and that really, once you down or add that extension, you can use that anywhere. So emails, Google Docs, anything that you're kind of working in. So, and look for the note that's going to pop up here from Edpuzzle for that link to go to that extension from the Chrome Web Store and install. We're going to go over working with Guardian summaries. So that's something that's available. So when parents or guardians join your Google Classroom, they'll receive a regular email that comes to them for each of their students. And they can also choose the frequency of the email. So they have the choice of whether they receive it daily or weekly. And they can also have the option to unsubscribe at any time. What that email summary is going to give them is any of the missing work from their student or their students missing, the upcoming kind of due dates for upcoming work, and kind of just an overview of any class activities taking place, so any announcements you posted, assignments, or even discussion questions. By default, email summaries are turned off, so you're going to have to go into your settings in order to turn on email summaries if you want them to be sent to guardians. And also another thing, guardians cannot access a classroom or view your class streams. The only information that guardians receive or can access really about your Google Classroom is what they receive in these summaries. So this kind of video is just going to show you to how to go into the settings. It's under general. You're going to see that little turn on switch there to turn on summaries. You'll need to invite guardians. You might go into Skyward and just copy and paste their emails in, or ask for that maybe in a science syllabus or something. But you will need to make sure that parents' guardian emails are added to and then invite them. They will receive an email and they will have to accept. And that they will also be notified that they'll receive a weekly summary of their students' progress along with missing and upcoming work. So, what are some benefits do you think that there are to Guardian Summaries on Google Classroom? Take some time to pause and reflect on that, or even some of the benefits that you saw from the Google app or Google Classroom app. So, please make sure you respond to this question, and you'll need to do so before the video advances. All right, we're going to take a quick look at grading student work. Again, I know not everyone likes to use the ability to grade student work in Google Classroom because it does not sync to Skyward, but we'll just see how a little bit on how it's done here.
Another feature that's been added is within the creation of assignments. So if we create an assignment here, like so, now we've got this new option here that says point. So we can give a point value to an assignment. We can also click it unmarked, which is fine as well. We've got the due date and topic as well if we want to add those. So that's all the same. This is a new feature here, this points element. So now let's look at some of the features of a new assignment. So I've posted a new assignment here as a teacher. Let's go over to the student view. Let's go to classwork, and here you can see that assignment. So let's click on the assignment. And at the top here, you've now got this ability for the student to actually add a class comment. So you can click on a class comment here, and you can add a comment to this assignment as a student. Okay, so let's add a quick comment.
All right, so I just wanted to go over some grading settings. If you do choose to use the grading ability in Google Classroom, I just want to show you a couple things that you can do. So I'm going to pop out of this and go to my demo class. We're going to go to that settings up here in the upper right. So if you've been looking for where settings is, you can change all these class details. There's also some general information as far as your meeting, the class code is concerned. Here's that Guardian summaries, which you can turn on or off like I showed you before. You can also come down here to grading. Now, I have it set up so that I have different grade categories. Right now, it's in total points. You can switch this to weighted by category. So that's going to change it over to percentages. So you would just go through and add your grade category, your percentages, and so you can also turn on or off the ability to show the overall grade to students. So this is just some features if you would like to use the grading option in Google Classroom. As I showed you on that previous slide, you can go in and change the Guardian summaries. You can turn on or off. You can also turn on or off the ability for students that can either only comment on the stream, they can't actually post anything. You can hide some of your notifications. And you can also generate a meet link for your class right from settings. You can also do it now on the main announcement page or stream page of your Google Classroom too. So again, that's that new look that Google Classroom just added. They now have that meet link that it's on the stream. So over on the left, so you can generate your link. It also gives you the class code right there as well if you need to project that or give that to a student. So which of the settings that we just went over for Google Classroom are most important to you and why? Or it could be all the settings from that we went over in this whole training. Go ahead and answer the question and Edpuzzle, and you will need to do so before we get to the final note that's going to pop up. That'll show you the link to, or you can click on the link rather to take you to the evaluation as well as the attendance form so you get credit for this class. And again, this evaluation form will be available in a note in just a second from Edpuzzle.